Hi, I'm Raquel with the Hunter Training Department. This video is going to be an overview of the basic programming with the ICC2 controller. The ICC2 controller is designed for medium commercial and even high-end residential applications. It is distinguished by unique styling, a brilliant backlit display, and enough power to operate larger systems efficiently. The basic controller models are shipped with an 8-station module installed and can be expanded in 4 or 8-station increments. Throughout this video, we plan to cover the basic programming steps required for an irrigation program. We will show you how to set the date and time, how to assign a start time to the program, how to program run times for each station in the program, and how to designate the days to water. We will also go over the pump, seasonal adjust, manual operation, and system auth functions. We're going to be using the arrows to navigate throughout the various settings, and we'll use the plus and the minus to change the current value while it is flashing. The program button allows us to change between programs A, B, C, and D. The first step in programming any controller is to set the current time and day. To do this, turn the dial to date and time position. The year will be flashing, meaning that it's ready to be changed using the plus or minus buttons. Press the right arrow to advance to the month and change it using the plus or the minus button. Press the right arrow again, and the day of the month will be flashing, and use the plus or minus to adjust it. When you press the right arrow button again, AM will be flashing. Press the plus or minus to change it from AM to PM or to 24-hour mode. Press the right arrow button to advance to the hour and change it using the plus or minus button. Advance to the minutes and adjust them as well. Each program will require 3 ingredients to be complete: at least 1 start time, run times, and days to water. We'll start with programming the start times. Turn the dial to start times. The display will show the first start time in program A. The first start time represents the first complete cycle of all the stations that have a runtime in program A. We'll use the plus or minus button to program the time we want our system to cycle for the first time. In our case, 6 a.m. Since we want to water multiple times a day, we need to advance to the next starting time so that it cycles a second time at 10 a.m. Advance to the third start time and program it for 2 p.m. And finally, a fourth start time for 6 p.m. ICC2 controllers allow you to program a maximum of 8 start times. Later on, when you need to cancel some of the start times, simply press the plus or the minus button numerous times until you find the word off, which happens to be between 11:45 p.m. and 12 a.m. The next step is to assign a runtime to each of the stations within program A. Turn the dial to run times. Here's where we designate the length of time that each station within the program will run. Let's program 10 minutes on each of the 2 stations with new grass. Do this by pressing the plus or minus button. Advance to station 2 using the right arrow and program 10 minutes as well. We'll leave the rest of the stations set to 0 because stations 3 and 4 will be assigned to program B since they require a different schedule. When all of the run times have been entered, it is possible to see how long the entire start time will run. With the dial in the runtime position, press the left arrow button, if necessary, to get to station 1. Then press the left arrow one more time, and the total duration of the start time will be shown. This function is known as the total runtime calculator. The last component for program A is setting the days to water. Turn the dial to water days, and let's program it to water every day except for Thursday, which is our mowing day. To activate a day, press the plus button. To cancel a day, press the minus button. We'll press the plus button for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. For Thursday, we'll press the minus. And for the rest of the week, we'll press the plus button. This completes program A. Now we're ready to start the process again with program B. Something unique to the ICC2 controller is its ability to run 2 programs simultaneously. In some controllers, only one program can run at a time, and if any other programs will overlap a program that is already running, the second program is pushed back to start after the first program is finished. This is called stacking. ICC2 will allow any 2 programs to overlap. That means that if a program is running and another program needs to run at the same time, it will. If a third or fourth program also wants to overlap these 2, they will then be stacked, meaning the controller will not start them until one of the running programs is finished. No more than 2 can overlap at once. Let's turn the dial back again to start times and press the program button to go to program B. This time, we're going to program the first and only start time at 5 a.m. Because we only want program B to cycle once per watering day, we'll leave the remaining start time set to off. Turn the dial to run times. And because stations 1 and 2 have already been assigned to program A, we'll leave them at 0. Let's program 20 minutes on stations 3 and 4, which are the ones that correspond to the trees, and any other stations should be set to 0. For the days to water, we decided that stations 3 and 4, which are in program B only, need to be watered every 4 days. Turn the dial to water days. We'll use the interval mode to program this schedule. To access interval mode, press the left arrow button while the check mark is flashing next to Monday. The interval number will be flashing. Use the plus or minus buttons to program how often you want it to water. Since we want to water every 4 days, we'll program an interval of 4, which means that the system will skip 3 days between water days, therefore watering on the 4th day. When you program an interval schedule, you will be asked how many days you want to elapse before it starts to water. 0 days left means that it'll water on the very next watering start time. So if we have a start time set for tonight after we're done programming it, then it'll water tonight. If we program 1 day left, it will skip 1 day and it will water on the following day. At the bottom of the display, you will see the days of the week. These give you the opportunity to cancel any day of the week that you do not want to water on. You can also cancel odd or even days while still being in the interval schedule. In our example, since we usually do yard work on Thursdays, we don't want to be surprised by the sprinklers. So we'll choose to water every 4 days, but never on Thursdays. Other options available when programming the days to water include odd and even days. Odd days are the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and so on of every month. Likewise, even days are the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, etc. You can access the odd or even mode from the specific days of the week screen. Take the cursor to Sunday and press the right arrow button again. Odd will be flashing with a raindrop above it, indicating that it will run on odd days. If you press the minus button, even will be flashing with a raindrop above it. Whichever you leave flashing on the screen with a raindrop will be the one that takes effect. As you were able to see, setting up a program requires at least 1 start time, run times on the stations you want to assign to the program, and days to water. The following dial positions we're going to discuss are pump, seasonal adjustment, manual operation, and system off. In the pump dial position, you can turn on or off the pump or master valve independently by station. The default is that the pump or master valve function is on for all stations. The seasonal adjust dial position allows you to decrease or increase the seasonal adjustment percentage, which results in shorter or longer run times. What this means is that if you reduce the seasonal adjustment to 50%, stations that were originally programmed to run for 20 minutes will now run for only 10 minutes. It is important that when you're programming the station run times, this value remains at 100%, which is the factory default. We're going to skip SolarSync for now and go straight to the manual dial position. From the manual dial position, you can turn on a single station or an entire program. Simply choose the station you want to start with, ensure that it has the desired runtime, and turn the dial to run. The station will start running, and you will notice a sprinkler flashing on the display. The controller will continue to water the rest of the stations with runtimes. If you want to turn off the stations before the manual cycle elapses, simply turn the dial to system off and wait a couple of seconds. You can also turn on a station or a program by pressing and holding the right arrow. What we have covered in this video are the basic steps for setting up a simple program. However, these controllers offer other advanced features that will be discussed in a separate video. For detailed programming information, don't forget to consult the owner's manual. You can find it at hunterindustries.com. Thank you for watching.